Hi, you can call me Enas. I like to make Dota 2 hero suggestions. One of my top rated was Repulsive Ezza. She's growth themed. Her attack range is 600 units. She's decent at escaping, dealing high damage with her spells, and disabling enemies. She's centered all around area denial. So her first spell, Projectile Vomit, you target the direction and you vomit in that direction. The vomit reaches 1,000 units length by 250 units width. It also lands right on top of you, which is on a 50 unit radius. Enemy units who are hit by the vomit also projectile vomit. If it is a creep, they vomit 400 length by 150 width. If it is a hero, they match your 1,000 units length by 250 units width. In the location that vomit lands, it creates stench of its current level. Stench is part of your third spell, and it is passive. But I'll get to that soon enough. On top of there being stench of its current level, on top of the puke, enemies take damage per second from being on top of the vomit. This will stack with itself. This means if you puke into a crowd of enemy creeps, and they all puke too, wherever all the puke lands will stack with itself. The starting damage of one instance of the puke is 15 damage per second, and it goes up by 10 each time you level it. 10 damage per second, I should say, and it's magic damage. The mana cost of this spell is 100 and goes up by 20 every time you level it, so that makes it cap out at 160 mana cost, and it has a cooldown of 20 seconds at all levels. Her second spell, Belch, you activate it, and you, in a cone in front of you, a 65 deviation from directly in front of you, in a radius of 350, increasing by 100 radius each time you level it, up to 650 radius at most max level. You deal damage to all units hit by the burp. They are pushed to the edge of the burp. This is similar to Drow's Gust spell, where she pushes units to the edge of the gust, no matter how close they were to her. In the area that the burp pushes enemies out of, creates stench of its current level, lasting for 5 seconds. The mana cost of this spell is 160 mana, and the cooldown of 25 seconds. Her third spell, Stench, has both a passive and an active component. The passive component is that anywhere the stench is, a stench cloud, is a green smoke that slows enemies 30, 35, 40, or 45%, depending on your level. Enemies who stay in the stench for 3 seconds or longer vomit in place in a 50 unit radius around themselves, and are stunned on top of it for 1 second. I imagine this would work very effectively with someone like Magnus, where he can just group all enemies on top of the one place, and then they all vomit on top of each other and chain react into high damage. So they vomit in place. So that means that they do your current level of projectile vomit on top of themselves. The active component of stench is that you fart, and it creates a stench cloud on top of yourself that has a radius of 200, 250, 300, or 350 units, depending on your level, and that's radial, lasting for 10 seconds. So, in other words, you can deal high DPS with projectile vomit, you can deal decent damage and push away enemies, helping you escape, and you create a lot of area denial based on creating stench from all your spells. Her Augment Scepter upgrade, you target an allied unit within 600 units, and you apply Strong Dispel to them. This means you will purge most debuffs that are possible to be dispelled. They lose 200 health in the process. However, they also cast your current level of projectile vomit with no additional cost other than casting the spell in the direction that they face. Mana cost is 90 for the spell, and it has a cooldown of 18 seconds. The ultimate of Repulsive Ezza is Putrid. It has a passive and an active component similar to the third spell. The passive component is that all units that die on the map produce stench where they die after a 0.3 second delay. In the location that the stench is created, it lasts for 3 seconds and has a 150 unit radius centered on the corpse. Ezza may pick up stench, corpses that are creating stench, and create a stench cloud on aura around herself. This has a 300 unit radius on yourself. Just as long as you're carrying one or more corpses, max of 8, you will have this aura, this 300 unit radius of stench aura. Yeah, you can carry up to 8 corpses, and then your active component is you can throw a corpse at a target destination, dealing 25, 35, or 45 magic damage per second per corpse. Yes, this stacks with itself. So essentially, you could have 8 corpses, each dealing 25 damage per second on the same location, which would be 200 damage per second. The AoE of each corpse's stench area and DPS area is 300 units at the arrival destination. And they last for 15 seconds. So if you essentially threw all 8 corpses onto a single point, and the enemy stayed there for all 15 seconds, you would deal 3,000 damage to them. The mana cost of the spell is 40 per throw, 40 per thrown corpse, and it costs has 1 second cooldown. The talent tree, level 10, you can get belch cooldown minus 10 seconds, making it at 15 instead of 25. The alternative level 10 is mana cost of all your spells minus 10. This would make your putrid throw 30, your Augment Scepter 80, your stench fart 70, your belch 150, and your projectile vomit 150. Your level 15 talent, Projectile Vomit, adds 15 damage per second per stack. This means that you would get 15 more damage per second per stack of Projectile Vomit. Or Putrid Max Corpses plus 2, so you could have 10 corpses instead of 8. Her level 20 talent is passively release stench farts every 5 seconds, lasting for 2 seconds in the location that you farted. Or Spell Lifesteal of 20%. Her level 25 talent is Stench Stun duration is increased by 3 seconds, making it a 4-second stun on top of a Projectile Vomit in place. If you get stunned by the stench. Alternatively, you can get Putrid damage is now pure. Her stats, as far as stats goes, she has 23 starting int, going up by 2.35 per level. This is relatively, it's about average. The starting is a little high, and it's a little bit above average in terms of growth. The agility start is it's about moderate. It's about average, and the growth is about average as well. Her strength strength start is 24, and she increases by 4 per level. She's got 300 starting movement speed. Her base damage without considering the strength is 17 to 27, and she starts with 0.5 armor, but that doesn't count the agility. Counting the agility, she has 1 armor to start. Her starting damage is 41 to 51. Her mana pool is 351, and her hit points are 680. Her projectile speed is 1125. This is the standard, and her attack range once again is 600. If you have any questions, comments, or critique, please leave them in the comment section. If you want to see a link to this showcase, I'll leave a link in the doobly-doo. Thanks for watching my video, and have a nice day.